Cutter Gauthier was just traded by the Flyers to the Anaheim Ducks, and this was a move that really shocked Flyers fans. I mean, it shocked me. I was just on my phone, and I see Cutter was traded for Jamie Drysdale and a second-round pick. Like, what's going on? This was during the Flyers game. So I'm watching the game, and I see this on my phone, and our fifth-round pick from just a year ago was traded for a second round pick and another player. Like, it just didn't make sense to me until I really started looking into Twitter and seeing all the reports that were actually coming about Cutter Gauthier. So what I found out that was happening is Cutter, he did not want to play for Philadelphia, and it's so weird. Why would someone who is the best prospect in your organization not want to play for the team that drafted you so high and had such high hopes for you? But Cutter didn't want to play for us, and he wanted to go somewhere else. So just why? I still don't understand why. Nobody knows why he doesn't want to play for Philadelphia. But he was traded to the Anaheim Ducks for Jamie Drysdale, a very solid upside guy, a 21-year-old defenseman that has a right-handed shot. He's going to be put on the power play unit right away. So I have a lot of hope for him going forward. So I'm really happy that we got a player like him in return. And we also got a second-round pick for 2025. But Cutter Gauthier, he could have been one of a Flyers' greats. Like, I don't understand why he did not want to play here. He could have been so good for this team. And him and Matvei Michkov, when he finally comes over from Russia, they would have been a dominant unit for the Flyers for years to come. But he didn't want to play here. And now that's what we get. We don't get Cutter Gauthier on the Flyers. We have Jamie Drysdale, which I'm actually kind of happy that we get someone who wants to play for the city. I don't want someone like Cutter who was not going to play for the city. So, Cutter, send your bags packing. You're not going to be a Flyer. You're never going to be a Flyer. And when you come back to the Wells Fargo Center, you are going to get booed every time you are on the rink. But I'm just going to go into the trade details and just talk about what happened, because it was a shock to everybody. So, and this is why I need to get this video out. I'm not doing any editing. I'm not showing any clips. I'm just doing normal Flyers rundown, just like the rundowns I used to do. So, sorry if I'm talking a bunch with all this information, because there's a lot to go over and there's a lot to discuss, and I'm even trying to process it all. So, the first thing I want to just go over is, why did he want to leave Philadelphia? So, he wanted to play in the NHL this season, but Danny Briere and the rest of the Flyers front office thought it was a better decision for him to stay down and play another year in college, let him develop, so they weren't going to sign him on the team and bring him up to the NHL right away. And I'm not so familiar with how all the rules work with young players coming into the NHL. Even though he's on the Flyers, or he's in the Flyers organization, he's still playing in college. It isn't like any of the other teams. You can't get signed to the NFL and play for college still. So he plays for Boston College, and this was going to give him another year to develop his game and just become a really good NHL player for the future. So he's only 19 years old. He would have came into the league as a 20-year-old with so much potential and so many years to grow, especially when the Flyers are really starting to get somewhere with this organization. They're bringing in guys. They're actually making good draft picks. So it would have been prime position for him to come in next year and then produce. There was no seam to rush him into the NHL. There was no reason for that. But that's what he wanted, and that's why he wasn't happy with the Philadelphia Flyers, and that's why he wanted a trade. So he gets traded after months. This must have been going on for months, as Danny Briere and John Tortorella have already expressed to the media. This trade was, they were trying to work out a trade for months. They knew Cutter didn't want to play, but they were giving him some time to think, and after his World Junior Championship run with USA, they thought that there was no better time to pull a trade, as his value is not going to get any higher. That was the highest his value is going to be. He's still 19 years old, and he just came off an incredible run in the World Junior Championship. So I think this was a good trade. He wasn't going to, and also, I forgot to mention this, he doesn't have to, yeah, the Flyers drafted him, but he doesn't have to sign with them. He could walk for nothing, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he can just walk, and we wouldn't get anything out of him. So getting a second-round pick and a guy like Jamie Drysdale, that is solid for someone who is never going to end up playing for this city. So I just want to explain the brilliance of Danny Briere in this front office real quick, because he did a really good job. He handled this very well. Him, Keith Jones, they all did a great job in this Flyers front office. They didn't let this get public, and that's the big thing. The media, it ruins a lot of transactions these days, as everything is online. Everything's in the media. So when you're trying to make a trade, everybody knows about it. Nobody knew about this. This is why it came out as such a shock. Your fifth round pick from 2022 is gone for one guy and a draft pick. People were outraged when it first came out until they revealed why they actually did it. And now that they actually revealed how it went down, that was a good move. They were smart. They didn't let it get out, and they were able to up his value for someone who's basically a diva. So I just give a great shout out to Danny Briere and the rest of the Flyers front office for making this trade happen and for getting something in return for someone who wasn't going to end up playing for this city. Now, the details of the trade, there's not much. There's just a second round pick in 2025, so that's going to be Anaheim's pick, as well as defenseman Jamie Drysdale. For a minute I was going to call him a forward, but that's Cutter. He's a forward, and he doesn't play for us anymore. But Jamie Drysdale, defenseman, right-handed defenseman, you don't find a lot of them that are really solid, and he has a lot of upside. He's only 21 years old. He hasn't played a lot. I believe he's only played like 10 games this season. So if the Flyers can get into those power play rotations, even in some of the normal rotations, I really expect him to make a lot of produce. I really expect him to produce on the defensive end, and I'm really excited to see what he does going forward. He's so young, 21 years old, not as young as Cutter Gauthier, but he still has a lot of upside, and we even get a pick out of the trade. So those are just all the trade details. There wasn't many moving pieces in this trade between Philadelphia and Anaheim, but I just thought I would put that out now. Now, more on Drysdale. He's a solid player. Like I don't really know much to say about him. There's something about him that he was practicing today, and the coaching staff, they were very happy with him. John Tortorella, he was happy with his results, and he just wants to be here. And that's what you want. Like the Flyers, they're not amazing on paper. They don't have the best roster on paper. But the reason they've been doing so good this year is because they've had guys that want to play, and they want to bring back Philadelphia hockey that's good and that produces and gets the fan base involved. This is the best that fan base has been over the last few years with this hockey team, because they have not been good. And now that they're actually winning, they're playing with fun. Like they're playing fun out there. They're having fun. They're not letting losses get to them. Yeah, they're in a little bit of a dry spell right now after they just lost to the Penguins 4-1, but they're still in a playoff spot. I believe they're 7th right now. They would be the 7th seed if the playoffs started today. So there's a lot, and this was their rebuild year. They're supposed to be terrible this year, and they got all these young guys producing so early in their careers. You got a new guy coming in like Jamie Drysdale, who's going to produce right away. He's not in college. He's going to produce right away. He's on the team, and he's going to produce. He's already going to be on the power play unit. I believe that was what was said. So there's a lot to look up for this Flyers team, and I'm really excited to see what direction they go in. Are they going to go on a win streak? Are they going to keep winning games, or are they going to fall back to where people expected them to be at the beginning of the season? I fully expect that this Flyers team is going to win some games. They're going to go into the trade deadline and maybe pick up a star. I just expect them to do something like that. They might go for a Johnny Gaudreau, that's who we wanted to get a couple years ago, if you don't remember, and Chuck Fletcher kind of ruined that with happening. Gaudreau grew up a Flyers fan, and he wanted to come here, and Chuck Fletcher ruined it. But now we have a solid front office with Danny Briere, Keith Jones, and the rest of that brilliant Flyers front office, as they've made countless good moves to start their tenure of the new era of Orange. And I'm just really excited to see where they go in this direction. But it's just also a shame to see Cutter Gauthier ruin his career in Philadelphia so soon before it even started. I really wish that he would have got off to a good start with this team and eventually see him play in the orange and black, but that's just not what it was. So that's going to do it for this Flyers rundown. I want to thank you guys for watching. I haven't done a lot of rundowns lately because they haven't been getting many views, and you guys know I don't do this for the views, but they take a while to make, so I don't want to be making things that people like that YouTube doesn't show out to people. But I needed to get this video out to talk to you guys about what just happened last night and why it happened. But it's a shame that Cutter Gauthier ruined his Flyers career, and now he's public enemy #1. And that's really all I have. I'm excited for Jamie Drysdale, and I can't wait until the Anaheim Ducks play the Philadelphia Flyers. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.